Okay, get this. The president of France and his wife, they're suing a podcast.
Yeah, sounds almost made up, doesn't it?
Right, but it's totally real. So today, we're doing a deep dive into this whole legal fight involving Candace Owens and these really extraordinary claims she's made about Brigitte Macron, the French First Lady. Our mission here is to really dig into the source material we've got, mostly this detailed video breakdown of the lawsuit itself.
Right.
We want to understand, what are the core claims? What are the legal stakes, which seem huge? And why is everyone talking about this, especially the money involved?
And it's interesting because, like you said, it sounds sensational, but it goes deeper, I think.
How so?
But it really pushes us to look at, what responsibility do public figures, content creators, what responsibility do we have in this digital age?
Oh, okay.
It's a very real, very stark example of what can happen when unverified stuff gets spread around, especially when it's presented like it's absolute fact.
Okay, so let's unpack that central claim then, because it is. Yes.
It really is.
Candace Owens put out this podcast series. I think it started as 6 parts and became 8, called Becoming Bright.
And an expose piece too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And in it, she flat out states that Brigitte Macron is in fact a man.
Just states it as fact.
As fact. And here's the kicker. She apparently said she'd stake her entire podcast or professional reputation on it being true.
Wow. That's quite a statement.
It is. And then apparently the series also throws out this, even more extreme idea that Brigitte Macron might be President Macron's own father or grandfather. I mean...
It's hard to even process that level of accusation.
Totally. So, okay, given how serious these claims are, who exactly is suing?
Right. So the lawsuit comes from Emmanuel Macron, the president, and Brigitte Macron, his wife.
Okay.
And they're suing Candace Owens directly as a person.
Not just her company.
Well, her company too, Candace Owens LLC, and another company called Georgetown Inc., which people think is tied to her husband, George Farmer.
Okay, so they're going after all angles.
Seems like it. And it's a defamation suit, plain and simple. They're arguing she spread lies and dangerous lies about both of them.
And the lawsuit itself, it's huge, right? Physically huge.
Yeah. The source mentioned something like 116 or 120 or some odd pages.
That's not messing around. That's a serious legal undertaking.
Absolutely. And that part about suing her is really key here.
Why specifically?
Well, usually an LLC, limited liability company, is set up to protect your personal assets from business debts or lawsuits.
Right, the corporate veil sort of thing.
Exactly. But by suing her as an individual as well, they're basically saying the alleged damage goes beyond just the business. It makes it a direct shot at her personal finances, her personal wealth.
Which suggests they're playing for keeps.
It's a very deliberate legal strategy, yeah. It signals they want individual accountability.
Okay, so let's talk about those potential financial consequences. Because we've seen big defamation payouts before, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. There's some major precedent.
I remember the source mentioning the George Stephanopoulos ABC News thing.
With Donald Trump.
Yeah, where some statement, I think the source used a really weird term, grape-pissed or something. Anyway, that one statement led to a $15 million payout.
Plus legal fees, yeah. Another $1 million there.
And then, of course, the huge one is Alex Jones and Sandy Hook.
Right. The orders there were, upwards to $1 billion?
Just staggering. And we saw what happened. That kind of debt can completely wipe someone out. He had to sell off assets, even the InfoWars name.
It shows these things aren't just symbolic. They can lead to total financial ruin.
So connecting that back to Candace Owens,
right.
What are we talking potential?
Well, the source estimated her net worth somewhere in the $5 to $20 million range.
Right.
Maybe her husband's closer to $100 million.
Okay.
And the lawsuit, the analysis suggests, is aiming to wipe her out financially. It could be seeking, tens of millions of dollars.
Tens of millions, wow.
And crucially, this type of debt, a judgment from a defamation case like this, often isn't something you can just, file for bankruptcy on and make it go away.
Really? So it sticks with...
Often, yes.
Yeah.
These kinds of judgments can be exempt from standard bankruptcy discharge. So we could be talking about very long-term, inescapable financial consequences for her personally.
Okay, so that's the potential outcome. What about Owens's strategy leading up? What did the analysis say about her?
Well, it highlighted a few things she allegedly did. First, using these claims to basically boost her own platform, get more famous, make money.
Okay, sort of a notoriety play?
Kind of. Second, the accusation is she just disregarded all credible evidence, ignored anything that contradicted her story, and instead platformed known conspiracy theorists and proven defamers.
So doubling down, essentially.
Seems that way. And third, when the Macrons apparently sent a retraction demand, trying to get her to correct the record, she allegedly just mocked them and used that as more content for her audience, described as her frenzy fan base.
Wow, okay.
And, it's interesting, this whole I'm just asking questions. Defense often comes up in these situations.
Right, you hear that a lot.
Yeah, Owens uses it, her supporters use it. But legally speaking, the source makes it clear that defense doesn't really work if you're actually saying things that are lies and defamatory.
So just saying you're asking questions isn't a magic shield.
Apparently not in a defamation case like this. It raises that tricky question of where the line is legally.
And the source also pointed out she doesn't tend to use the word alleged.
Right, which is legally significant.
Yeah.
It suggests she's presenting these claims as established facts, maybe because she genuinely believes them, and she definitely wants her audience to believe them. That's a dangerous position in a defamation lawsuit.
And it seems like beyond the Macron claims, other controversial things have come up, maybe in her response to the suit.
Yeah, the analysis we looked at mentioned that. It reported she's repeated some really serious, long discredited stuff.
Like what?
Things like long debunked anti-Semitic tropes, such as a blood libel, which, just to be clear for everyone, is that horrific false claim about Jews using blood in rituals.
Okay. Wow.
And also accusations of Holocaust distortion. Things like saying Elie Wiesel's book Night was fictionalized, or dismissing Mengelé's experiments as just mere propaganda.
So really adding fuel to the fire, it sounds like.
It certainly adds another very serious dimension to the whole situation and the conversation around her.
Yeah. Okay, so stepping back, what are the bigger takeaways here? What does this mean beyond just these people?
Well, I think for anyone who's a content creator, anyone who communicates for a living, really, this case is kind of a flashing red light.
A warning.
Yeah, a stark reminder of the danger zone we operate in regarding defamation. You have to be careful.
Makes sense.
And it really forces you and everyone consuming this stuff to think hard about that line between asking questions, genuine, critical questions, and just making definitive statements without backing them up, especially statements that can cause real harm. The analysis even touched on this potential link some see between certain conspiracy theories and called narcissism, this idea that believing, all the hidden truths can lead to this really dangerous overconfidence.
Right, and potentially serious legal trouble, as we're seeing.
Exactly.
So, okay, bringing it back to the listener, what does this all mean for you watching this unfold?
Well, I think it's easy to see this as just, drama between famous people.
Right, high-profile spat. But it's really about the information environment we all live in now. It's about what we click on, what we share, what we choose to believe. It just hammers home how important it is to actually try and verify things, especially claims that are presented as absolute fact, but, don't come with any real proof.
It's about developing that critical filter, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not just nice to have. It feels essential now. So just to recap the core points. Yes, the French president and first lady are suing Candace Owens. It's a defamation suit over these claims about Brigitte Macron's gender and identity. The potential financial hit is massive. Could be tens of millions. And really, the whole case is a huge spotlight on the consequences of spreading unverified stuff, particularly when you state it as undeniable truth.
It really is. And maybe the final thought to leave people with is this. In this era where information and misinformation travels instantly, what's your responsibility? Your personal responsibility in trying to play truth from potentially really damaging fiction. And maybe more importantly, how do we all get better at questioning not just what we're told, but how readily we accept anything as fact without doing the work?